9. Let's talk high tech. We do it with Paul Brislen from twitter.com/Paul Brislen. Morning, Paul.
Good morning.
And today, talking about, it sounds so dry when you say it, VPNs or virtual private networks. It sounds like,
virtual private network.
Doesn't it? But they're actually really exciting things.
They are. I shall read aloud from the VPN section of Wikipedia for the next 5 minutes.
No, please don't.
No, really. So secure VPN, this is a way of connecting to a server and transacting things that you may or may not want everybody to see. So every time you log on to private personal banking, that kind of thing, there are a whole raft of reasons why you might want to connect to a secure VPN. Not least of which is connecting to another country and pretending that you live over there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For whatever reason.
But traditionally, of course, VPNs have been used for businesses so that people with business laptops could connect securely back to the business, yeah?
That's right, right. And we do that here at Two Hands. We're all working remotely at the moment, and what we do is we log on to a secure server, and it verifies that we are who we say we are, and it gives us access to the things we're allowed to have access to. We don't have to be in a physical office anymore. We can do it from anywhere in the country, so long as you've got good broadband and you have a decent lack of latency or jitter. So this is the sort of the variation on your line. So long as it's a good quality connection, you should be away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, particularly in rural New Zealand, the farming community struggle with things like Xero or other online applications, like online banking, because they do require really low latency, and of course on a satellite connection or a dodgy dial-up connection, you don't get that.
Yeah.
So that is holding back rural New Zealand, which is a real shame, really.
So for the purposes of wanting to appear that you live in another country or that you're connected in another country is becoming more and more of an issue as other countries have services that New Zealand doesn't.
That's exactly right. And until a lot of the service providers realise that it's the World Wide Web, and that people outside of North America, for example, do indeed have money and would like to give it to you for products and services, you're stuck either not having access to it or following these handy-dandy, easy-to-follow steps, connecting up to a secure VPN and saying, hello, my connection is now in Palo Alto. And yes, thanks, I would love to buy that product or service.
An example, I suppose, could be, we should talk about Spotify, actually, because Spotify is currently available in other territories around the world, but is actually coming here in February.
Yes.
But if you wanted to connect to Spotify before February, then you would have to pretend you were in another country. Yeah,
exactly. And, you see things like the Apple iStore. There are a raft of applications that are available to iPhone or iPod or iPad users if you're an American user that simply aren't available in New Zealand. And I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't, as an application developer, want to have the widest reach possible. But for some reason, some licensing or inane reason based on an old-fashioned business model, no, we must control the rollout. And those New Zealanders, well, there's only 4 million of them. Bugger it, they can wait until February of next year. Well, you actually don't have to.
No. And Netflix is another example. We talked about this last week where they looked at New Zealand and said, well, it's not really worth the bother with the trouble to create the agreements with the various movie companies and all that kind of thing.
That's right. Now, Netflix does say you're not allowed to circumvent any of their technology, and they have ways and means of tracking you. But that's the whole point of secure VPN. It's encrypted. So all they can do is say, okay, well, we will block these types of secure tunnels because they're free and they're well known. But they really have no way of telling one way or the other.
Okay, so if you fancy all that stuff, how do you hook yourself up with a VPN?
Well, the first thing you should do is probably just Google secure VPN and see what comes up. I adopted a slightly more circuitous route. I was reading Neil Gaiman, who's one of my favourite authors, blog the other day, and he's guest starring in an episode of The Simpsons. And he said, well, it's available in America for Americans to watch right now. For you foreigners, and for me when I'm traveling abroad, what I do is I go to tunnelbear.com. And so I thought, right, if it's good enough for a world-class author, I should go and have a play. Tunnelbear is ridiculously easy to set up. It installs an application on your computer, and it has a handy-dandy little pop-up screen, which is, basically you can toggle between I want to pretend to be an American and I want to pretend to be a POM. It gives you half a gig of data for free, so there are two buttons: on, off, America, UK, and away you go. You switch it over, and then you begin watching whatever you want to watch.
Now, because it's free, you're obviously going to be sharing that kind of one connection with dozens, if not hundreds of others.
That's right, and it is incredibly slow.
Right.
It's a bit like leaping back in time
Yeah.
To the late 1990s. So, however, if you just want to try it out and see what it does, then you can sign up for what they call Little Tunnel Bear, which is free, and as I say, 1.5 gig of data a month. If you tweet how wonderful they are.
Yeah.
If you then want to pay, you can pay for unlimited data, but again, I imagine it's from a fairly restrictive pool. That'll cost you $50 US a year.
Okay.
Which is not a bad price, really.
Yeah. And besides that, though, there are a whole bunch of companies around the world that do offer VPNs, and a Google search will bring all those ones up. But I guess it's hard to know which ones to trust.
That's right, and that is the real key issue here. You're actually paying somebody you've got no idea about.
Yeah.
So personal recommendation for Tunnel Bear, okay, I'll try it out. And unless I get a personal recommendation for something else, I really don't want to be giving my money to the Uzbeki mafia or anything like that. I'd much rather be giving my money to the performers and the creators of the content that I want.
That's right.
But in lieu of that, I'll have to give it to someone.
Now, a year or so ago, I did a bunch of research. I can't remember how I found out about these particular guys, but they seemed trustworthy and everything. And after a year's use, I can recommend a company called Lamnia, and they're based in the UK, lamnia.co.uk, but they will give you VPNs to make it appear as though you're in the US or Canada or elsewhere in Europe, I think even Australia as well, including the UK, and they are fast, reasonably cheap as well. I pay the yearly subscription, so that whacks a whole discount on it, but otherwise they've got plans from like £8.75
per month.
Per month, yeah.
Yeah. And that really does give you access to all the stuff that you just wouldn't get here. I've got a colleague who is Canadian, wants to watch the hockey, and I've told him that now he's not required by law to watch hockey, even if he lives outside of Canada anymore. He could watch other sport, but he loves it, and he simply cannot get access to it on television here because there aren't that many people who want to watch Canadian hockey.
Exactly.
So he logs onto a secure VPN, pretends he's Canadian, and then pays a pay TV network in Canada so that he can watch it. Now, this is content that's not made available in New Zealand. Nobody will make it available because he's too much of a niche market, and yet he's managed to find a way to do it.
Here's another example of a use, is that I was on YouTube yesterday looking for some various bands and looking at their music videos, but then down the side, I know this was on my tablet rather than on the YouTube website, but I could see all these videos that obviously I was missing out on the actual YouTube website because it said not available in your country, not available in your country.
Yes.
So the record company was preventing New Zealanders from seeing music videos.
It's spectacular.
It's outrageous.
And for what purpose? I mean, I always view music videos really as an advertisement for the music.
Yeah.
And so basically we're saying, oh no, we won't play your ad here. No, you can't watch that ad in your country.
Crazy.
Because you might buy the product.
Yeah.
God damn, how dare you want to buy the product?
It's just just silly. So there's another straightforward use for a VPN. So appear like you're in America and watch all the music videos you want.
That's right. And really, eventually they will work this out and say, oh, let's just sell the product to the customers. Oh, there's an idea. But for now, while they're still busy mucking around figuring it out, well, we can just get on and carry on without them. So
at your place, you can make the World Wide Web truly the World Wide Web by getting yourself a VPN. Paul, thanks so much for telling us all about them.
No, that's all right. Thank you for letting me.
And love to hear more about your experiences and who you end up going with and how it all works in the future as well. If you want to follow his experiences on Twitter, you can. Twitter.com/Paul Brislen. Time now, 22 minutes past 9. Got a track here from Jay Brown and the Mike Smith.